Hello, this is Insane Monster. Normally, this is part update, part awareness of sorts. As you can tell from the videos, this is a lot of damage. These pictures were taken by various people who were affected in one way or another by the recent Hurricane Ida. To clarify a couple of things for those who may not know much about hurricanes, hurricanes are classified into 5 categories. 1 through 3, well, hurricanes that are category 1 through 3 are normally ones that can be typically dealt with relatively easily. Even a category 4, in some cases, can be dealt with fairly simple. As you may have guessed, I live in the area that has a tendency to deal with hurricanes. However, this is the first hurricane that has been experienced to be a level 5 hurricane in so long that, to put things slightly, many people ended up underestimating it, perhaps. And once it was over and people were able to go out and see what happened, it was shocking to say the least. Some people's homes were hit by trees, telephone poles, or even just collapsed right on top. Of course, they weren't in said homes, luckily. Those with homes that sturdiness was somewhat questionable were able to leave. But after the hurricane, most of the trees along the road, as well as telephone poles, were, well, as you can see in some of the images, in the road. This cut off power. It resulted in the water being shut off as well. And as you may have guessed from how long it took me to upload these videos and such, it was, to say the least, most people's cable is out and or still out. Some people even taking advantage of the disaster for their own benefit. And this isn't just people like con artists and such, but there are those. For the con artists, they are attempting to fake being construction companies and such, offering their help for payment in helping rebuild and clean up, only to run off with the money without doing any of the work. There is also the companies that, like insurance companies, where people are insured for the damages of hurricanes. The companies are just refusing to pay since there is so much damage and such. Even people who have been paying the companies for insurance for years can't even get a cent because of this. The companies have been stalling and putting off paying people as long as possible at this point. And other companies such as cable, where people have their cable taken out, the cable companies are demanding payment for the month or months people have gone without their cable because of the hurricane, stating that they won't reconnect the damaged cable lines until they do so. So, even official businesses are taking full advantage of people from this disaster. Some people are worried that their homes will be targeted for one thing or the other. Right after the hurricane, a lot of people didn't know what to do. Even multiple businesses ended up being destroyed, even some churches. Once the wind broke a window or forced the door open, the wind flooded in and, for lack of a better word, gutted the building from the inside out. Some were collapsed. Others had a whole wall torn down from the hurricane, not just including people's homes, but businesses, stores, etc. It's possible that some workplaces are even still not in service today because of this. But bit by bit, things have been getting to normal, with the other surrounding states and such sending the people to help clean up the roads and such, to take care of the phone lines in the road. They have cleared it up pretty well. But before they even came, normal people got to work like it was just expected, like it normally is after a hurricane. Normally there is a downed tree, maybe a telephone pole, and people tried to help clear out the roads to help people who will be working just be able to get through. And these aren't even people who are getting paid for it. They're just regular people that take their gardening equipment like chainsaws, taking out a four-wheeler or some type of heavy-duty golf cart in order to clear the roads from down trees that have fallen in them, chopping them up and pushing them aside. A lot of people were freaked out for what they returned to. Others freaked out for what they saw after they left their homes, withstanding the storm. Nowadays, with the cable company demanding up to more than $100 of payment due to expecting them to pay for cable that they didn't get for because they didn't have power and all that, it was it is somewhat complex. Nowadays people are ending up going to the library, and the libraries have been getting quite full. Some people using them to get their business online taken care of. Others looking for new jobs because their current employment, or what was their current employment, is now not available. So now they have to look for new jobs. But people are getting back on their feet. Though what you see here isn't exactly everything that happened. For those, well, I wasn't able to get a picture of, but if you are familiar with trailer homes and such, I myself saw one in a bayou. If you don't know what the bayou is, it's like a small river that there are plenty of down here. It has, so yes, some people ended up with their homes completely submerged in a relatively small waterway near them. Similar to this trailer home that was flipped over. In fact, the one I saw, I could only tell it was there because the pointed top of the roof was sticking out of it, of the bayou. But people are making their way back to normalcy little by little. Some places are taking a little bit longer, some aren't. And everybody's just trying to figure something out. For those who don't have a place to sleep, luckily and or hopefully, they have people they can rely on to stay with. But for the longest time, people didn't have water, nor did they have electricity. Some, like myself and the people in the house I live in, had to use rainwater as a method to help bathe. Since rainwater was pretty, well, free and it was clean, as long as you had a clean bin or something to catch it in, it could be used relatively simple. Just had to let it, well, wait out into the sun during the day to at least have warm water. First, what was restored was the water. Later on, after a few weeks after the water was back, electricity was coming back bit by bit as the linemen were clearing out the down telephone poles, replacing them, and getting all new equipment due to all the equipment they had being damaged. All in all, considering all the damages, it went pretty smoothly. But some people are still lacking one thing or another, and people are trying to get jobs and all that with some of their workplaces just not able to work in, from roofs caving in, walls just tipping over. Some stores even ended up getting looted for things like clothing, food, and such, mostly because, well, the stores were, they couldn't do anything, they weren't serving anything, and people needed food, people wanted food, and they knew they weren't going to have running water for very long. The army came in supplying things like MREs, water, and etc. Some religious some religious charity groups came over as well in order to supply cooked and ready hot meals to go to people who came and got them. All in all, everything has been, it took a while, but currently we have proper running water and electricity. Though it is to say that some things are still getting somewhat being a headache for people. As for me, as you can probably tell, I'm one of the ones who has to use the library in order to, well, upload these videos. And I'm also one of the ones constantly working in order, at my job, in order to be able to help at home so that we're able to fix up a few things. The place is still standing and not really any damage, but there's always going to be trouble somewheres. And those troubles have found their way to us one way or another. But we're making do with what we have just fine. I do appreciate that you have been patient with me on this, and I am glad that I'm still getting comments on my videos that you guys do like them. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone who's subscribed to me, and I appreciate you all listening till the end. Understand that natural disasters like hurricanes are a problem, but there's not much we as people can do about it. So the best we can do is do what we can to help out the people near us that have suffered from these disasters, and try to help our community get back on its feet the best that we can. If you have experienced a disaster, whether it be a hurricane, tornado, earthquake, or something of the other, keep these words in mind and help out those who need a helping hand. After all, this could happen more than once, and it would be a good thing not to give in to selfishness during something like this. I do appreciate you all listening, and I do hope that you will enjoy my videos. Have a good day.